The slap echoed through the Grand Council chamber like a gunshot. Commander Marcus Webb didn't flinch. His jaw tightened, a red mark blooming across his cheek, but he stood perfectly still before the crystalline dais where Queen Varanth presided over the Galactic Council. The trooper who'd struck him, Lieutenant Graves from Earth's Planetary Defense Force, breathed hard, fists still clenched, eyes wild with rage.
"You killed them," Graves hissed. "My team."
"Your orders killed my entire squad." The chamber held 200 delegates from 40 species. Not one moved. The air recyclers hummed. Someone's breathing apparatus wheezed softly. Queen Varanth sat motionless on her throne, her forearms resting on carved armrests, her compound eyes reflecting light like fractured diamonds. Her chitinous face revealed nothing. Webb SEAL team flanked him in dress blues, hands near sidearms despite regulations forbidding weapons in council chambers. The troopers formed a similar line behind Graves, their combat boots planted wide. "Stand down, Lieutenant," Webb said quietly. His voice carried no anger. "Only command, honed through 20 years of special operations." "Stand down?" Graves laughed, the sound hollow. "You sent them into that facility knowing the intel was bad. Knowing the Kreth had repositioned their defense grid. You wanted a distraction for your extraction. A counselor from Proxima, a being resembling a floating jellyfish pulsed with bioluminescence. This is unprecedented. Human military disputes have no place." Silence. Queen Varanth spoke for the first time, her voice like wind through crystal caves. The counselor dimmed immediately. She rose from her throne, 8 feet tall, her exoskeleton gleamed midnight blue under the chamber's lights. She descended 3 steps, her movements fluid despite her arthropod physiology. Every eye tracked her. "The human has struck a superior officer before this council," she said. "By military protocol of 17 member species, this warrants immediate execution." She paused. "Yet he struck claiming justice for the dead. This council will hear testimony." "Your Majesty, with respect, this is an internal Earth military matter. 43 beings died in the Kreth facility raid," Varanth interrupted. 19 were not human. 3 were my subjects. When humans wage war, the galaxy bleeds. This is now council business. A door at the chamber's rear opened. A child walked in. She couldn't have been more than 7, wearing a white medical gown, her feet bare against polished stone. Brown hair hung tangled around a pale face marked with old bruises. She walked straight toward the center of the chamber, ignoring protocols, ignoring guards. "Sophie?" Webb's voice cracked. All command authority shattered. How did you... The girl stopped between the 2 military formations. She looked at Graves, then at Webb. When she spoke, her voice was small but clear. "They were good people," she said. "The soldiers who came for me. They told me jokes while we waited. Sergeant Davies showed me pictures of his daughter. She's 8, 1 year older than me." Her eyes found Webb. "You knew the route was compromised. The Kreth told you. They offered surrender terms. You refused because surrendering meant the mission failed." Delegates rose, shouting in 17 languages. The Proximan counselor flared angry red. A Centauri delegate's translator box screeched feedback. Varanth raised one hand. Silence crashed down like a physical force. "How did this child enter my council chamber?" Her voice cut ice. A royal guard stepped forward, a humanoid with silver skin and no visible mouth. His name was Kaleth, captain of Varanth's personal security. He'd served her for 30 years, never failing. Now he knelt. "Majesty," she walked through 3 security checkpoints. No alarms triggered. Scanners showed nothing. My guard saw her but could not prevent her entry. He paused. "We believe she was aided." "By whom?" "The Kreth ambassador's staff logged a security bypass exactly 4 minutes before she appeared." Kaleth's monotone somehow conveyed fury. "We're investigating." Varanth's mandibles clicked softly, a sign of deep thought. She studied Sophie, who stood perfectly still, small hands clasped before her. "Child, you are the asset extracted from the Kreth breeding facility. Not a question. You are the reason 43 beings died. They were growing us, making us better, smarter. The experiments hurt." She rolled up one sleeve, revealing scars and geometric patterns. "The soldiers came anyway. Sergeant Davies carried me when I couldn't run. He put me in the escape pod first. I heard the explosion that killed them." "And Commander Webb ordered this mission knowing the intelligence was false?" Varanth asked. The intelligence wasn't false, Sophie said. It was incomplete. The Kreth moved their defenses but left the old positions active as decoys. Commander Webb knew about the new positions. He sent the assault team to the old ones anyway. He told them it would be easy. Webb's face drained of color. That's classified information. She couldn't possibly... I hear things, Sophie said simply. Since the experiments, I hear all kinds of things. Radio frequencies. Thoughts, sometimes, when people think loud enough. She looked at Graves. You dream about your team every night. You see their faces burning.
You wake up screaming. Graves swayed.
One of his troopers caught his elbow. Varant descended the final step. She towered over the child, her shadow engulfing Sophie's small frame. You possess abilities the Kreth engineered into you, the Queen said. Yes. You use these abilities to bypass my security. Yes. Why? Sophie's voice finally wavered. Because Commander Webb is about to be promoted. In 3 days, he becomes Director of Special Operations for Earth's entire military. He'll give more orders. More people will die for missions that serve his career. She looked up at Varanth. I couldn't let that happen. I needed someone to stop him. You're the only one who can. The chamber fell absolutely silent. Even the air recycler seemed to quiet. Varanth studied the child for a long moment, then turned to Webb. Commander, you will speak truth before this council, or you will die where you stand. Did you knowingly send troops into a compromised position? Webb's hands clenched. His SEAL team shifted uneasily. Finally, he spoke. Yes. The word landed like a bomb. Delegates gasped. The Proximan counselor's bioluminescence flashed through angry colors. Graves made a sound like a wounded animal. The primary mission was asset extraction. Webb continued, his voice flat. But intelligence needed confirmation of new Kreth defensive capabilities. Command wanted real combat data. I volunteered my mission. The assault team was briefed for a standard raid. They drew Kreth fire, revealed the new grid positions, and our stealth team extracted the asset during the chaos. He paused. It was the optimal tactical solution. 43 dead for data collection, Varanth said. 43 dead to save thousands in future engagements. The intelligence they provided has already prevented 2 major conflicts. Webb's voice hardened. I made the call any competent commander would make. Graves lunged. His troopers grabbed him, 4 men struggling to hold him back. You son of a bitch, Graves screamed. Davies had 3 months until retirement. Chen just became a father. You murdered them for your fucking career. Stand down, Webb barked. I'll kill you. Varanth moved. One moment she stood observing. The next she'd crossed 3 meters and placed herself between the 2 humans. Her hand rested on Sophie's shoulder, protective. Enough. Her voice resonated through every being's chest cavity. There will be no more violence in my presence. Graves stopped struggling. Webb's team backed away. Even the delegates stilled. This council recognizes operational necessity, Varanth said. Wars demand sacrifice. Leaders must make terrible choices. Her compound eyes fixed on Webb. But leaders who hide behind necessity while pursuing glory are not leaders. They are predators wearing uniforms. She gestured to Keleth. Captain, present the evidence. Keleth activated a holographic display. Encrypted communications flickered in the air. Messages between Webb and Earth Command, Webb and defense contractors, Webb and media coordinators. The progression was damning. Mission planning that emphasized publicity, contractor negotiations for post-military positions, media strategies to frame the raid as a heroic rescue. The intelligence value was real, Keleth said. But Commander Webb's primary motivation was creating a high-profile success to secure civilian employment. His team knew they walked into a trap. Commander Webb assured them the intelligence was solid. Webb's face remained impassive, but his hands trembled. You sold their lives, Graves whispered, for a job. Lieutenant Graves, Varanth said, you struck your commanding officer. By your own military law, you face court-martial. Yes, Majesty. And, Commander Webb, you violated the most sacred trust of command. By the laws of war recognized by this council, your actions constitute murder through depraved indifference. The SEALs were among Earth's finest warriors, loyal to death. If their commander gave the order, this chamber would become a slaughterhouse, Galactic Council or not. Webb raised his hand, stopping them. For the first time, something like shame crossed his face. I accept responsibility for my actions, he said quietly. Do you? Varanth tilted her head. Or do you simply recognize you've been caught? She turned to Sophie. Child, you possess dangerous abilities. The Kreth created you to be a weapon, yet you chose to pursue justice rather than revenge. You risked exposure to prevent future harm. Her mandibles clicked thoughtfully. What you did today took remarkable courage. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. I just didn't want anyone else to die like Sergeant Davies. He would be proud of you. This chamber has witnessed assault, murder, and the revelation of crimes that span species boundaries. We will render judgment. When she sat, her forearms spread wide, a gesture of absolute authority. Lieutenant Graves, your actions were criminal but driven by righteous grief. You are hereby stripped of rank and removed from military service. You will serve 5 years rebuilding worlds damaged by the Kreth War. Perhaps labor among ruins will teach you that violence, even justified, has consequences. Yes, Majesty. Commander Webb, you are guilty of murder. By council law, you should be executed. She paused. However, Sophie speaks truth. Your intelligence prevented greater bloodshed. The data cost lives but saved more.
Therefore, you will live.
Her voice hardened. You are stripped of all rank, honors, and military standing. You will spend 30 years on penal colony world Tharseth, mining radioactive ore alongside war criminals from a dozen species. You will labor until your body breaks. If you survive, you may die free. Their commander silenced them with a look. Understood, Majesty, Webb said. Take him, Varanth ordered. Royal guards moved forward. The seals bristled but didn't interfere as Webb was led away. He walked with his head high, maintaining dignity even in disgrace.
Varanth gestured to Sophie.
Come here, child. Up close, Varanth was massive, alien, terrifying, but her voice was gentle. The Kreth made you into something new. You are human but enhanced, caught between species, belonging nowhere. Varanth's compound eyes seemed almost warm. I offer you sanctuary. My world has schools for exceptional beings. You will learn to control your abilities. You will be safe. What about Earth? Sophie asked. My parents died in the Kreth raid that captured you, Varanth said gently. I am sorry, but you have no family remaining on your homeworld. Will I ever go back? Perhaps. When you are trained. When you understand what you've become. Varanth extended one hand. But for now, you need guidance.
I can provide that. Sophie took the offered hand.
Her small fingers disappeared into Varanth's armored palm. The queen rose again, lifting Sophie easily. She addressed the council. Let this day's events remind every species. War demands sacrifice, but sacrifice without honor is simply murder. Leaders who forget this truth forfeit their right to lead. Her gaze swept the assembly. And when the innocent suffer, justice must answer, even if it comes from a child's courage. She carried Sophie toward the private exit. Before leaving, she looked back at Graves. Lieutenant, your service record shows 23 successful operations before this tragedy. Your team trusted you. Their families trust you still. Her voice softened marginally. The rebuilding worlds need leaders who understand loss. Use your pain to prevent others' suffering. It's what your fallen would want. Graves straightened. I will, Majesty. Varanth nodded and departed, Sophie cradled in her arms like something precious. The council chamber slowly emptied. Delegates filed out in silence, shocked by what they'd witnessed. The troopers led Graves away to begin processing. The SEALs stood alone, their commander gone, their brotherhood shattered. Keleth remained, overseeing the chamber's clearing. His lieutenant approached. Captain, how did the child truly bypass security? Keleth's silver face remained expressionless. She walked through 3 checkpoints and no alarms triggered. But the Kreth ambassadors report everything you find. He paused. But know this. Sometimes the universe requires small miracles. Sometimes a child's courage must be aided by those who recognize justice when they see it. His lieutenant stared. You helped her. I did my duty, Khalith said. As did she. Now do yours. Keleth stood alone in the empty chamber, surrounded by echoes of the day's chaos. In the queen's private quarters, Varanth set Sophie down gently. The child looked around, at the strange, beautiful room. Walls that seemed to breathe, furniture that adjusted to her size, windows showing 3 moons rising over an alien ocean.
I'm scared, Sophie whispered.
Good, Varanth said. Fear means you understand the weight of what you've done. You ended a career, condemned a man, revealed state secrets, Lesser beings would feel triumph.
You feel fear and sorrow.
She knelt, bringing her eyes level with Sophie's. That capacity for empathy, even toward those you've harmed, makes you remarkable. Will Commander Webb really survive 30 years? Probably not. The mines are brutal. Vadanth's mandibles clicked sadly. But some crimes demand harsh payment. He murdered through arrogance and ambition. He deserves his fate. Will heal, perhaps? Or break completely?
Time reveals these outcomes.
Varanth stood. For now, you need rest. Tomorrow we begin your education. It shifted, becoming perfectly comfortable. Your Majesty, she said softly, why did you really help me? Varanth paused at the doorway. Because 43 beings died and someone needed to care. Because justice matters, even when it's inconvenient. And because a frightened child chose courage over safety. She looked back. That deserves reward, not punishment. The lights dimmed automatically as Varanth left. Sophie lay in darkness, processing everything that had happened. Somewhere on Earth, families grieved their lost soldiers. Somewhere on a transport, Webb contemplated his ruined life. Somewhere in medical detention, Graves probably wept. And here, light years from her homeworld, an enhanced child began the long journey of discovering what she'd become. The slap that started everything still echoed in memory. But it no longer echoed alone. Now it was joined by a queen's pronouncement, by justice delivered, by the first small steps toward healing. Outside, 3 moons climbed higher. Inside, Sophie slept dreamlessly for the first time since the experiments began. The galaxy turned. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, for one small moment, righteousness had prevailed. And sometimes, in a universe too often ruled by violence and ambition, that was enough.